So, the film industry has witnessed a boom of movies based on intellectual property. This has resulted in the release of many lackluster remakes and unnecessary sequels. With declining numbers at the box office, studios seem to be more risk-averse than ever, leading to the creation of even more remakes and sequels. In 2024 alone, 13 of the top 14 grossing films were sequels or remakes, and the one exception was based on a very successful Broadway play. Last week, the live-action remake of Snow White hit theaters. In May, we have Lilo and Stitch coming up, and this summer, we have How to Train Your Dragon being released in June. So far, it looks like 2025 won't be very different from 2024. Is that really a bad thing, though? Are remakes really that bad? Can they be real movies? Or are they always going to be an obvious cash grab? Let's find out. Welcome back to another episode of the Soundscape Sessions. I'm Mal. That's Trav.
What up?
This is Adam.
Bazoonga.
And today we're talking about remakes.
Is that one better, Malcolm?
That one was perfect, Adam. That
one
one
much better?
Was perfect.
Joke.
Anyway, sorry.
So today we're talking about remakes. As I said earlier, last week the Snow White movie came out. Apparently it's not too bad.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people were kind of trashing on the main actress there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Disney movies that have came out, I haven't seen enough of them, but the ones I have seen didn't really seem that bad.
Are you talking about the live action remakes?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Like I actually did a bit of homework yesterday and I watched the live action remake of The Lion King.
Okay, I've seen that one. Okay.
And I mean, I don't know. I think that's like kind of the conversation. It's just like if you're going to... So if Disney is remaking a movie, your first thought is what? Cash grab, right?
100%.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
My first thought is, why have they not done the Aristocats yet? My second thought is...
Because of all the, like,
cash
isn't there,
grab.
like, racist shit in that movie?
Let's get rid of the racist cat. One cat that plays a very racist note on piano. Let's completely cut that scene. Let's remake the
And what about-
Aristocats.
Isn't there,
but
like, Siamese, like, cats or whatever?
Yeah, that's
dude?
what
that would
he's
be
talking
that's
about.
kind of the joke
Oh.
there.
Yeah.
I think
I haven't
I'm-
seen the movie, so I thought you were talking about, like, another
Yeah,
thing.
no, I think that's the first one that kind of like they called it out and they're just like, yo, this is pretty bad. But let's cut that scene out. Let's remake the Aristocats movie, but also, yes, cash grab. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, why can't they just come up with new ideas?
Well, exactly, right? That's the idea. Now, you see, the thing is, your remakes...
Because that would take time and creative, a
Well, we
process.
don't-
Like, you'd have to think a little bit.
We don't have that kind of
Why not
time.
just, like, raking the cash?
Well, yeah, no, especially like as I said earlier, the box office has taken a huge hit, especially since the pandemic ended. Like they've really struggled returning to pre-COVID numbers, and that's because a lot of movies get like personal video on demand, I think it's called, releases like shortly after theater releases, and a lot of people just don't want to go to the movie theaters anymore. It's like, and it's kind of sad. That's why, like at the Oscars, you had Sean Baker, who's an independent filmmaker. When he won a couple of his awards, he was talking about how important it is for people to go and see movies at the theater because, like, it really isn't the same as watching a movie at home, and there is some magic to it. However, that's not something everyone appreciates.
It's true. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say just like I mean I get it, but like I'm gonna say like the last like few times I've gone to the movies though, I haven't really enjoyed the experience because there's of people in the movie theater ruining it for me.
True.
So yeah, on a lucky time when you go, but it's like if it feels like more times than not now, it's ruined by someone doing something stupid in the theater. Like I told you the last time was we watched Deadpool and there's a fucking like I couldn't believe the amount of kids in this theater too. I was like, this is like you're taking your 5-year-old to watch this. This is nuts. And there was a family
Pretty
there.
wild.
And they had like a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and the mom was like, they were watching the thing, and the dad was just passed the fuck out and snoring as loud as like could be, like so loud.
What a great
that I
experience.
could hear his snoring over the fucking like audio coming from the movie in a movie theater,
That's
which
crazy.
is beyond loud. So yeah, it was just and it just fucking ruined it the whole time.
Well, that
whenever
is the
something
way
got
you're
quiet,
supposed to
like you just heard,
experience
and you're just like, oh, that's great. It's like, but I'm like, I get it. This guy's probably like, God, this is the only downtime I've had for like a fucking 2 weeks. Like,
It's the only chance he gets to take a nap.
Take a
This is
little
the only
nap.
time. All these other people are just gonna have to take an L just for this one time. They can watch it again, but
But yeah, no, I don't know. But like before, definitely, like when I was a kid, I used to love going to the movie theaters. We used to go to movie theaters all the time when we were young kids.
Yeah,
that was
same.
like a thing
Get
to
super
do.
stoned and just go see a movie. That's what
It
we
was
would
like
do.
an event, man.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, even my parents, they took me and my sisters to the movie theaters too, right? And like even my parents, like my sisters were always terrible at the movie theater, and my parents were just like, then they don't get to go see movies at the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
Well, how much better is it whenever you talk about a movie that you've seen when you started off by saying like, "Oh man, I remember I saw it in the theaters." Like that's like when it came out or whatever. Like that's like the best fucking feeling ever. Instead of just like, "Oh yeah, I saw it on, my buddy's DVD laptop when."
I know. But I mean, the thing is, it is a little bit different. But nowadays, it's getting more so like, like a lot of people have a 65, 70-inch screen now. That wasn't a thing when we were kids,
no, that's
right?
true.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and everything is in 4K.
Yeah, the picture quality on home theater has definitely improved massively versus than when we were kids.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was the only way to go see a movie in like fucking good definition was
Yeah.
to go see it in theaters, right?
No, that's very true.
So I feel when that era kind of left out. But yeah, it is sad because you don't want to get to a day where like going to the movies was like like a memory. You remember when we used to go to the movie theaters?
Oh, fuck.
Remember when movie theaters
Yeah.
were around? Like,
I'm
do you think that's gonna happen one day?
I'm scared this is going to be one of those adapt or die things.
Yeah.
Like honestly, the way things are going, I feel as though the theaters are going to be like more of like a novelty thing, like down the road and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we went to the theaters, like, oh, how was that? That was so fun, And then like, all right, let's go back to the room with Netflix where normal people do your shit.
Absolutely.
And
right.
that's becoming the normal thing now. And like, is it too far gone that it's not worth fighting for, or
Yeah.
is it like,
Well, what's your opinion on it? Like, did you enjoy how often do you go to the movies?
I like to go to the movies at least once or twice a month, depending what's on theaters.
Cool.
I don't go on release days anymore. Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I really try and avoid because that is when everyone goes to the movies, and that's when you go to the movies and people are talking or they don't give a fuck or they're treating the movie theater like their living room. But like to be fair, I feel like movie theaters have like always been like that. I feel like they've always had the commercials where it's like, hey, don't like save 50 seats for your friends. Don't talk during the movies. Like as long as there have been cell phones, they've been telling people to turn them off during movies, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think it's like anything new. Honestly, it doesn't like I think the problem is like we had this like 2-year gap where everything was like really quiet with like COVID and people weren't going out and doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's like now everything's back in full force and you kind of like before you were like used to a lot of it. It just came with the territory. And then you had this
and then you had
period
that break,
where you're like, oh, this is like, there's not a lot of people
That's a
here.
good
This
point.
is nice.
No, it's a very good
No,
point.
you sounded like Frau.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I get you. No, absolutely. That's a very good point. Yeah, you kind of you get used to shit, right? And then when you don't have to do it anymore, when you have to do it again, it can be really, really hard to deal with it.
Yeah.
Which is a very good point, right?
But like, so we're talking about how remakes are being cash grabs, and that's like, it's like kind of a good way to get people to go to a movie theater as well, because
It is, yeah.
as much as maybe remakes aren't the most inherently creative thing in the world, like especially when you're talking about the recent Disney trend where they kind of just like remake their animated movies. Like Lion King was essentially a shot-for-shot remake. They added a little bit here and there, but like 75-80% of that movie was like the same as the original cartoon.
Yeah.
Except done in a different visual style.
Well, can we also just quickly say that Bill Murray as Blue and Chris Walken as fucking the king, I forget what his name is. Like, this is great voice casting. Like,
That's what?
What? What are you talking about?
That's not the
that,
Lion
I'm
King.
thinking about the Jungle Book.
You're
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
That's the
Wait, okay,
That
I
was
have
the-
not seen The Lion King. I just realized.
I have seen the Jungle Book.
I have seen the Jungle Book.
And you're talking about the 2016 live action remake of
The
the
whole
Jungle
entire
Book.
time.
I want to be
was
like,
just
toot, toot, toot.
Not quite ripe yet.
Not quite ripe yet.
I was also like, this whole time I was just like, oh man, I'm so excited because I actually like remember seeing this movie, and I was like, okay, you know what? Now all of them cash grabs. Fuck them all. I'm fine.
I mean,
But like
I
we were
feel
just
like
talking
they are.
about how hard it is to get people to go to the movie theaters, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what better way to do it than to remake a movie a lot of people already really like?
It's true.
Well, yes, and like also, but that's you're right, and Disney has like noticed this, and now they just have a blueprint for this shit because they're doing these kids movies too, where it's like it's a lot easier to get kids into a movie theater than it is an adult.
For sure.
Like so, that's why it kind of like it just prints money for you because when you have something to do this weekend, what are we gonna do with the kids this weekend? Oh, let's go take them to see The Lion King. Like, you know what I mean? Kids don't care. Like when you're 5 years old, like another thing that what's actually crazy to me is we're so old that you could be a 5-6-year-old right now and go to see the live animation, the live remake, and then have not even seen the original, like animated one.
That's true.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that could be your Lion King that you grew up on.
There are kids that are going to see Moana, like the live action, before seeing the actual
Moana?
Yeah, 100%.
And that shit just came out.
Wait. Moana's a Pixar movie.
Is it?
Yeah, Moana's not a live action remake.
I think they're aren't they doing
They're
one? I
making
thought
it.
they
They're
were
making a
doing
live
one.
action remake
Of Moana?
Yeah, Moana.
Well, they just released Moana 2.
That's the whole point.
True,
Like,
okay.
Fucking, it's like it's so dumb.
Yeah,
like
that
they
is-
just released the second one, like the animated one, and now they're like, I don't know, cash grab.
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't seen any of them. Like, I could care less. I'll just watch the classic
The original,
ones.
yeah.
Absolutely. But like I said, I can see why they're getting kids in the theaters. And if you're young, like you don't know what The Lion King is, it could be your very first watch. So whatever.
And
Like,
even that animation style might not even transfer to like another generation that has grown up with these like striking visuals.
100%.
So
Absolutely.
like I can kind of see why remaking it. Now you see, here's the argument, right? Like you remake a movie and it's shot for shot of the original. That's kind of just a cash grab, right? But like what I've been reading about this new Snow White movie is they're really trying to like turn it into a movie about how Snow White is a princess who needs to learn how to become a ruler of a kingdom, right? Because that's essentially I'm not super familiar with the original story of Snow White, but you know, she is like sent away from home by the evil witch who wants to take over in her stead. And then in the end, she's like saved by like Prince Charming or whatever. It's like a super generic, very dated story, right? And what I heard is they're actually trying to like give Snow White an arc where she like actually kind of grows up a little bit.
Okay.
So like that's where I kind of like that's where I think the argument is like if you're going to remake a movie, don't just tell the original story. You have to try and say something different, right? But then there's the fine line because you're always going to be put back against the original. When I was watching The Lion King, I found myself like being like, okay, this scene, I thought this scene was better in the original. I thought this scene was better in the original. And like I could say maybe that's not fair because it is a new movie and they're trying to do something different. So can I always compare it to the original? But then if you're doing a remake, that kind of comes with the territory too, right?
100%.
But they've also done remakes that aren't that, like, there's a lot of movies, Gone in 60 Seconds, 3:10 to Yuma. These are like remakes.
Absolutely.
right?
I was going to say, like, because there's movies that you watch that you don't even know are remakes. Like
Exactly.
The Departed, that's a remake.
Yeah.
Scarface, a remake of a 1932 movie.
Yeah.
Was actually called Scarface. But yeah, so there's like 3:10 to Yuma is like one of my favorites, and I've actually seen the original as well. The 1950 something, I can't remember when it came out, but yeah, like, and like again, it's because now like I liked both, but I actually liked the newer one more because we have better technology and better like cameras and better ways to tell the story of like what's happening, you know what I mean? But going back to what you said, where it's just like the new Snow White and they're trying to do this like thing within everything like that. So why not just fucking make a new story at that point?
Well,
like, why not call it something else? Like, why not just leave Snow White alone? It came out in 1920 something,
1937.
1937. it was a different time back then. Why are you trying to change what just wasn't a thing back then and just fucking start a new story and make a new princess?
Didn't they try that with like Snow White and the Huntsman or whatever?
But again, you're going back to Snow White. Like, just name it something else. Name it a new girl. Like, it could be a whole new princess.
It could be a whole completely different land.
A whole new princess to inspire a whole new generation.
Hey, you guys
of
remember
like
when we
young
did
girls
Snow
to
White?
like be the. You don't need to wait for Prince Charming to come around and save you.
That can be just its own
like,
new.
Yeah, that could be its own like new thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like they haven't done
Great-grandmother
that.
Snow White, she's long dead and gone. And times have changed, and we can be independent.
Exactly. Right?
Independent Disney princesses now.
100%. Anyways, you were saying that.
Well, no, it's just like, it's not like Disney has never done that either, right? Like,
No, they've tried. Like, the Princess and the Frog, and like that was a new princess. Like, I mean,
That
I
was
know that's
cool.
a pretty older movie. It came out like
at
early
this point, yeah.
2000s, but like, I mean, again,
It was like a big deal when it came out.
When it came out, it was a big deal. And I'm not saying they haven't tried before, but again,
Frozen.
Frozen is another one. Ella.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, wasn't my thing, but I was too old. Like, I was already in my late 20s when that movie came out.
I mean, yeah, that was a pretty, like, as far as movies go, though, like, that was a pretty solid movie, though. They made an effort. They told the story. Like, it wasn't anything, like, groundbreaking, but at the same time, though, like, I'd say it succeeded as, like, far as a movie goes.
You're right. I'm not, like, saying it was a crap movie by any means. It just didn't blow me out of the water.
Yeah,
but
no, for sure.
it's kind of
Moana
ruined
guy
for me,
myself.
Moana? Well, I mean, Moana's another new IP, right?
Never watched that one.
When I did first watch it, it was kind of like a cool, like, special time in my personal life when I did first watch it, and then every time I do watch it again, it reminds me of that time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also just a really good fucking movie, and also I don't really like musicals and shit, but the songs in that movie are really, really catchy. Like, even what's his face, one of the guys from New Zealand, where's the kid? Fucking, what's that band called?
Flight of the Conchords.
Flight of the Conchords, the guy with the glasses. He's in it. Jermaine's son. Yeah, he plays the giant crab guy, and he has his own song.
Nice.
It's fucking a great song too. But so they are capable of making new shit. It's just, but like I feel like one time somebody was just like, well, what if we remade, what if we remade the Jungle
I think
Book?
they did it.
And then they're
then,
just like, whoa, keep doing that. That's what we should do forever now.
I think
So-
it's because the first time they did it, it was so successful
Yeah.
and made so much money. They were just like, well, let's just
Maybe we
keep
could
doing
do
that.
maybe we
Like,
Keep milking that cow.
and as soon as it stops and it's not making money anymore, then they'll be like, okay, maybe we should write some new movies now. Like,
Okay, so before we get to that point, can we do the Aristocats?
right?
Then we can fuck
Man,
off
you better
with
hit
it.
up Disney and ask
Or
them.
wait, is Emperor's New Groove, is that Disney? Since I
Yes,
don't
it
know
is.
what the
Of
fuck
course.
I'm talking about, apparently this whole entire episode I have no idea what I'm talking about. But is that Disney? So
Of course.
Emperor's New Groove and fucking the Aristocats. After that, you don't have to remake any fucking thing else.
I
You
mean,
just gotta
okay.
get those two out of the way first. Can you
Yeah.
imagine Emperor's New Groove?
I was gonna say,
David
as much as
With
I
David
love,
Stave and Don Judman.
as
Yeah.
much as I love, the original Lion King and the original friggin' Aladdin, I wouldn't watch the sequels, but I would, or the remakes. I would actually watch the live action for the
Emperor's New Groove.
for
We did that
sure.
episode. Go check it out.
You know, it'd be
very
sick if
long
they
ago.
actually casted David Spade and fucking John
That would
Goodman.
be really
That would be
sick.
dope.
It wouldn't be impossible to do, and also
Watch it's coming down the pipes. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
we called it. If it comes out in 2 years, I want my royalties.
Well, that's the thing too. You can't really do much with Yzma because Eartha Kitt passed away. But
R.I.P.
yeah.
all right, what
And
an
she was
amazing
incredible
actress.
as-
She was
as-
like
yeah,
my
Yzma.
favorite, dude. I loved her. But yeah, that's actually a fantastic idea. However, let's do that after we do the Aristocats.
Let's get rid of remakes after we do these last two.
We'll do the Aristocats live action. We'll do Spice World animated, and then Adam's happy.
There we go. But so you guys are we're dogging on remakes. You guys are definitely dogging on remakes.
Well,
You're saying
I'm
just
not
do something
usually a
new
fan,
though,
but, like,
right?
again,
we just
can
talked
work.
about earlier 310 to Yuma. That's a remake.
work,
and
yeah.
that's a sick movie.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm not
Another
saying it can't.
like another remake that I personally resonate well. This is happened in the television sphere, but like Battlestar Galactica, right? Did you guys see that remake?
BSG, no.
Oh God,
Not at all.
I just think of Dwight Schrute. when Jim's just like, well, it's funny because it's like a practical shot-to-shot remake, and like Dwight's like, oh my god,
Yeah,
like,
no, because it's not. No, the original Battlestar Galactica TV show is like a pulpy 70s series that barely lasted one season and was essentially just riding the wave of like Star Wars, of like sci-fi anime action figures. Like George Lucas even threatened legal action at the special effects studio that was making the props for Battlestar Galactica.
Holy fuck!
It was also the guy who was doing it was John Dykstra, who worked with George Lucas on
Star Wars.
on A New Hope.
Oh, wow.
Only A New Hope.
Yeah, but George Lucas didn't have a brain bug.
What? What are you talking about?
Is that what they're called?
A brain bug? I don't know what you mean by that.
Battlestar Galactica. This episode might be called Adam.
Adam doesn't know shit.
You know what? You know why? Because I'm not thinking of Battlestar Galactica. I'm thinking of Starship Troopers.
Holy
Starship Troopers, indeed. Yeah, there was a brain
And
bug.
that's 0 for 3. Kids, if you want to grow up to be just like me and be in a podcast with these fine gentlemen, make sure you know
amazing.
what is what. Yeah. Starship Troopers, they have a brain bug. Anyway, sorry.
So Battlestar Galactica does not have a brain bug.
No,
And
definitely not. Maybe it does. I don't know.
The mid-2000s remake, so they take this pulpy, like really terrible 70s like science fiction show that has no real substance to it, and they make it this like hard-hitting, super dramatic,
right?
like,
Cult classic,
like these like sexy actors running around, and it's just like so
over the top.
Like not over the top. It's very like understated too. It's like there's a lot
some
of
like crazy concepts in that show, man.
it was
like,
very
subject
politically
matter,
challenging at the time
100%.
too, right? Because like that it came out not too long after like 9/11 and the whole like kind of like what was going on in the Middle East at the time. It presented some like challenging ideas with like characters.
Commentary on that or whatever.
Yeah, like there's like a whole series where the robots are spoilers, where the robots are like have taken over the refugee human colony, and the humans are revolting, and they're fucking suicide bombing like Cylons.
Shit.
And it's like at the time, like this is like 2004, 2005, where there's no Breaking Bad, you know?
no,
like,
absolutely.
TV is pretty tame at this point
100%.
in time. And yeah, so like that's when like remakes can be amazing, because that show is like for me like probably one of the greatest like achievements in like television, especially because of the time. So
Well, I was gonna say, like, before we recorded, or before we started recording, let's hope I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I'm talking about Sherlock Holmes, my favorite fictional character of all time. But I've seen. I told you guys I'm watching like that show from the '80s and shit.
yeah.
I've not seen the original show from the '50s or before that with Basil Rathbone, or so, I forget his name, but it's something like that. He's awesome. I have seen the Robert Downey Jr. ones. I've seen the Benedict Cumberbatch ones. I've not seen the Will Ferrell fucking John C. Reilly one, because I will not. But example of a remake that's constantly been done, like how many millions of times, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad.
It's up there
And
with
I kind of thought
James
that.
Bond.
Yeah, James Bond too. Like how many times have they remade the same things, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad? So it kind of fucked with me. I was thinking about that before I came in here and how I could incorporate that into the conversation.
That's true. I mean,
Did I do well?
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know
is
in the
James
comments.
Bond technically? I don't think that's a remake.
So
right?
now you see.
Well, I mean, it's an amalgamation of a bunch of stories about
Absolutely,
one character,
and I
right?
understand that.
So,
the
but
movies
like,
change.
yeah, so it's almost it works better if it was like a TV show.
Like
but-
the Pierce Brosnan era compared to like what's his face.
there's Roger Avery, Sean Connery.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like just saying, like the ones that I grew up through were Pierce Brosnan and the new one. What's his name?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Danny
and
Craig?
like those movies are very,
Very
very
different in tone.
Like,
Clive
yeah.
Owen should have been James Bond. Just saying.
Another shout
Well, I
out
mean,
to our boy.
Skyfall is
3 for 3,
arguably
Clive. You're
probably-
coming.
I mean, I haven't seen all of them, and I haven't seen some of the classics either. I haven't seen like what's it called, GoldenEye. I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen GoldenEye?
No.
You haven't. Well, people say that Tomorrow Never Dies is the best one of
Skyfall, I'd have to say.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Are you kidding
of
me?
the James Bond one.
Isn't that the one with like Halle Berry and Pierce
That's
Brosnan?
Die Another Day.
That one's awful.
That's
That
what I was
one's
gonna
awful.
say.
That's
Tomorrow-
remember our guilty pleasure episode?
So-
That's a guilty pleasure for me. Yeah.
So GoldenEye is the first one. Die Another. Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm an idiot. Yo, let's rename the title of this. So Tomorrow Never Dies, I think, is the second one, and the third one is The World Not Enough.
Okay.
Fourth one is Die Another Day. And then he was just like, I'm hanging it up. But not before the studio or whatever said that he's not allowed to wear a bow tie in a movie ever again.
Pierce Brosnan?
Pierce Brosnan.
That
yeah.
is hilarious.
He's not, because it's James Bond and you can't do that. I don't know if that works with every other James Bond, but that is a fucking fact.
So you're telling me the Broccoli family
I hope.
controls
Yep.
Pierce Brosnan's right to wear a bow tie in
On
another
camera.
movie?
On camera,
in a
I
movie.
guess, right?
His yeah. He can wear one, but like just not in like a film that
don't-
can make money off of.
Don't take a picture of him wearing a bow tie.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan. It's like you meet Pierce Brosnan on the street and you're just like, oh, can I get a pic? And he's like, just a second, I gotta take off this
My
bow
bow
tie.
tie.
I like to think it's
You're gonna
like
get sued.
a clown thing where he's just like, oh yeah, no problem. Beep. And it just becomes a regular tie.
Like
and
your
he's just
shirt.
like, and then he just folds it back up and just goes back into
That would be a James Bond gadget.
And then he's just like, you haven't seen anything. He's also a Jedi.
Speaking of James Bond, I don't know if you guys heard, but recently, so the family, the Broccoli family, I believe they're called, that held like kind of final say and creative control on the James Bond like franchise for like ever.
True.
Was bought out, or like they worked out a contract. Now
Damn.
But Disney?
Amazon
Oh my
owns
God.
James
Oh,
Bond.
okay. I was like,
so
it's
you're gonna
gonna
get
be
that.
something.
You're gonna get that TV show you want for sure, man.
100%. Well, the thing is, my brother Chris actually was always the James Bond guy, but I'm, as I said before, the Sherlock Holmes guy. It'd be cool. You can never get sick of any new Sherlock Holmes thing. Even though I haven't seen the Will Ferrell thing, and I never will, but
That doesn't count.
doesn't count because I heard it was terrible too, and I was just like, how dare
It's hot
thee?
garbage.
How dare thee?
But like what I heard a couple years ago, so Christopher Nolan actually almost made a James Bond
What?
movie.
That
That would
actually
have been pretty
sweet.
wild.
Yeah, but Christopher Nolan is a guy where you're just like, yo, like you give me the movie and then you fuck off. And
Okay, yeah, you can't really.
We'll bring you a movie and
If
you
you're
will like
lucky.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
I might not.
Yeah.
I might just decide to not, and then somebody else has to do it.
So like I don't know if Amazon, who just gets the creative control to this, is going to want to just immediately hand it over to Christopher Nolan. Apparently Tarantino
Maybe.
wanted to do a James Bond movie back in the day as well.
Wow.
Can you imagine if Tarantino did a
Did
James
a Bond
movie?
That'd be pretty fucking cool.
That would be
actually.
cool, like how in Family Guy they did that episode with different directors would do that.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting if different directors, like what if the Coen brothers did a James Bond movie? What if like Quentin Tarantino did a James Bond movie? What if
Oh my God,
Ari Aster did a fucking James Bond movie? That'd be
Oh,
wild
bro.
as shit.
Man, if the
Ari,
Coen
no, I'm not getting into that movie. Strange thing about the Johnsons, don't watch it.
don't watch it. Man, if the Coen brothers did a James Bond movie, I think it would involve James Bond not doing any spy things at
Right?
all.
Yeah. It'd be like the day-to-day life after, like in between going on missions.
Yeah, like James Bond like goes to the grocery store and like someone gives him lip and he has to just like deal with it.
James Bond is out of milk.
It's like he's on the telemarketer. Do you know who the fuck I am?
Yeah. That's so funny.
I'm James fucking Bond.
This is the third time my internet has been out
Right?
this week, okay?
This is
I can't watch
insane.
Netflix. This is driving me insane.
This is my only downtime. You have no idea how busy I get at work.
That's incredible.
Oh man. So, and then talking about remakes, franchises that never die.
Oh, you're gonna say Harry Potter? Please don't say Harry Potter. Please don't say Harry Potter. Don't say Harry,
Harry Potter television
Yeah, isn't
remake.
the show coming?
Yeah,
Soon.
10 years. 10 years of Harry Potter.
I know. I'm half stoked and half like it's too soon, but
Oh, you must be stoked because you definitely know who the front runner is for Dumbledore, right?
Yes,
he's
I
already
do.
got it. He's already
He's
in it.
got it?
Yeah, he's already got
Confirmed?
it. And John Lithgow is my boy. So here's the thing.
That's fucking wild.
I had my because it's actually ironic because in the original movies they didn't let any Americans be
No,
in the
they
fucking
didn't.
movie except for one. And I think it was what's his face.
Oh God, you better get this right.
I'm not gonna fucking get it. It's the guy who
Hum.
I always mix him up with. I'm not gonna do it anyway.
Great information here.
Okay, it's like okay, you know Mini Me.
Yes.
What's his actor's name?
Vern Troyer.
Okay, so there's an American equivalent of that, I think.
Well, Vern Troyer's American.
Then Vern Troyer, I think, was in. I think.
Are you
played
talking
one
about
of
the guy who plays Professor Flitwick?
No, that's another guy.
Yeah.
That's another guy.
Yeah,
I
no.
think, but I think it might have been Vern Troyer, and it might have been somebody else. But I think there's one American actor in it. But
Vern
now,
Troyer's American.
so it might have been him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, they're kind of just letting they're kind of just letting anybody do it. And I was on the fence for a very long time ever since I heard it because obviously that shit's very beloved to me and many other people. But my personal love for John Lithgow, no matter what it turns out to be now, is going to make me watch it. So I love Harry Potter.
So
I love John Lithgow more. That's a lot.
Like, is actual Harry Potter, like, is he going to be fucking English too?
I think so.
And what do you
or
mean
American,
English?
sorry?
I think it's all supposed to take place in, like, English-speaking languages.
Well, I mean, the whole
right?
first series is all English speaking. I'm just saying, like, American versus, like, British.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I haven't.
Dumbledore's gonna have to put on an accent, or
I mean,
John
Lithgow could do it. He could totally fake an English accent.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember reading about how the first run through on Harry Potter, they were really hardlining. Everyone's got to be British. We're going to be really true to like the source material. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if now they're like, well, if we're going to remake Harry Potter, why don't we just try and do something like completely
I can't
different?
see Harry Potter not being British though.
Well, there's no way they're just gonna not make him British. I
But
think
then
that
it's like,
that's
so you're gonna have, yeah.
I mean,
you're allowed to make
it takes
American people
place.
not English. Like, it takes place in England.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be English. I think they're just gonna get everybody who is not English to have an English accent.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
But also the cool thing is that when people found out that John Lithgow was gonna be Dumbledore, it was cool because they were saying they were getting book Dumbledore vibes. Because the guy who plays Dumbledore, the second one, I think Harris,
Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon played the second one.
Yeah. Richard Harris played
Richard
the
Harris
best
played
one.
the first one, right? I like them both, but I kind of lean towards the Harris because Harris is the first one. He was more so like the book. When people heard that John Lithgow was going to be it, they were just like, that he's going to, like, he's got like that kind of vibe to play it like that in the book.
The kindly, kind of older.
Kindly, like, he's just like, but he's also like whimsical and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of like always like funny, but he never loses his cool, never.
No, that's true.
You know, there's the one gripe I have about the fourth movie. Harry, did you put your thing in the cupboard of my house? Did you do it?
Yeah.
Did you do it? No,
No,
just sound like that.
I agree. I kind of hated the new Dumbledore. Like, as a kid, I just like fell in love.
Love the actor, and I like what he did. But
yeah. But like for me, it's like I fell in love with like Richard Harris's performance. I believe in the both
first
movies.
two.
He just nailed it.
Perfect.
He was exactly
how Dumbledore is.
Yeah, and then Michael Gambon comes along and like, he just came off as like this like grumpy old man vibes, and I was like, I don't want to hang out with that. And he's mean.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, he didn't do terribly, but how do we always like get back to Harry Potter? We haven't talked about Marky Mark yet.
Actually, question before we wrap this up. What's the, like, is it a new story, or are we going like, are they the books again? But we have 10 years now, so we can tell you a whole bunch
so
more.
what I gathered is they're going to try and retell the story of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And because they have like a
All this
television
time.
series, they can explore like that's a lot of the positive vibes around the show is like, oh, well, now we have so much time to explore all the stuff we saw in the books of like Hogwarts, and maybe even dig deeper into the Room of Requirement or like a lot of the foreshadowing that like J.K. Rowling has in like the books, where there's like one line that is mentioned in the second book that like isn't really built upon until like 2 or 3 books later, right?
A lot of things that people were kind of bummed that were not included in the movies are like have a chance to now properly be included in like the story and shit. It makes sense. It's just like a lot of people hold this shit very, very close to them. And it's like, I don't think people are upset that they're doing it. I think they're just very nervous that they're going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
People aren't mad at them making things that are
I want to see who's attached to it. That's what I'd be curious.
I was trying to find details on
Lithgow,
it.
That's
and
it.
John Lithgow is the only like person. It didn't even say confirmed when I was looking at it. It said he's like the front runner.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you any writers or producers.
I couldn't find any writers.
Damn.
Janet McTeer is in negotiations for playing McGonagall. She played the food critic in The Menu. I don't know if you guys saw that movie. No. Did you guys watch Ozarks?
No, I want
She's
to.
the wife, right?
She's the wife?
No, that's Linda Linney, I believe.
Okay.
Janet McTeer plays the drug cartel lawyer in that show, and she's like one of the best characters. She's a really
sounds like something
great
McGonagall
actor.
would do.
Be a drug cartel lawyer.
No, transfiguration, just and she's like a fucking bottle of pills or whatever they do in Ozark.
That's a great show. You guys got to watch it if you haven't.
Ashley watched it. She wants me to watch it.
That show makes me feel cold. And
So
I don't like to feel cold.
I want to close out this episode with, what movies do you think would you like to see remade?
Oh, Jesus.
I was gonna make a joke and be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but they already fucking did it
Like 7 times, and they will continue to do it
Continue to
forever.
do it. And then I was like, it'd be cool if they made Mighty Ducks, but then they did it and it didn't do too well.
They did that as well.
Emilio
Estevez made the comeback
I
too,
know.
and everything.
I haven't even seen it too, and they had I really, really wanted it to be good, but right when I saw it, I was like, I know this isn't gonna be good.
I saw the first episode, and it just like
bummer.
It wasn't. I don't know. Like,
okay, can I just have like 1 minute? My idea was Joshua Jackson gets into hard times. And falls into the same kind of bad pattern as Gordon Bombay did. He gets himself sentenced to his own hockey league or whatever, and then Gordon Bombay becomes his Hans, and then they do a new thing. Why didn't you do that?
Disney, call this guy.
For fuck. But I get how I know I'm talking to you like I'm talking to the guy. I know Joshua Jackson probably was not available, but you could have done fucking something, dude.
Charlie Conway bringing back the Triple Deke.
They brought Adam Banks though. He's my boy. He's my favorite. But I'm sorry, I can't think. Every single thing that I think about, they've already done terribly.
I know, right? Like
Travis?
that's the thing.
I'm gonna say just because I mentioned it, like I think on the last Free Talk Friday, that it was a guilty pleasure movie for me. Also, A Perfect Storm. Because like, if you actually redid that movie and you had like the fucking beautiful visual aspects of it, which the movie does, and then you actually had like a very solid script and like really good character development, that would be a fucking dope movie. That would be a great movie.
Oh man,
So,
that movie,
like,
great movie.
So like you turn it into like more like gritty drama versus like this whimsical kind of like
no love story.
No love story. Cut
Just
that
fucking
out,
just make it like about like the
make
hardship.
it about
make fucking John C. Reilly's character the main character.
Oh, that's actually not a bad idea, but yeah, just make it more so
Family
about
Man,
like the actual feeling of loneliness on the ocean, and when you're gone for fucking like 3 weeks, and you're doing such dangerous work that you could potentially die.
Yeah, dude. Anything like fuck that. Just on
and
the
then
water.
but like, you know what I mean? You're doing the craziest job, but you're so used to it that it doesn't even like you don't even think about it until something crazy happens, and then it's like reality sets in. It's like, holy shit, I'm on a fucking boat like in the middle of the ocean, like.
Yeah.
So kind of turn into like self-reflective, like sort of solitary drama.
That and
of, like,
also
being
the
on like
also
a
the
fishing boat.
I know the bond between who you work with on a fishing vessel is very important, and if somebody does not work on the crew, they get tossed right away. So just the bond too between like
James,
the guys
Bond.
working together. It's a very different job too, in the aspect where when you have your work friends, like you go to work and then you go home every day. Like you're with these guys for literally, a month at a fucking time. Like, and you're on a boat, right? It's like there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. Like,
I went to work, I came home, and now here you guys are.
Well, I'm just saying, like, and even in the sense if someone's
Feels
driving
like we're
you
on a boat.
like if you're having like someone's driving you nuts at work, like you can't get away from them until you dock.
It's like we're in the same room as like the same guy just driving you nuts. You can't seem to get away from them.
There you go. Like this, like I feel every day without them.
So you want them to remake A Perfect Storm?
It'll never happen. They'll never do it.
It would be
But
cool, though,
that would.
wouldn't it?
I just think like under a different light, that movie could be really good.
I think it would be cool if they remade like the Terminator movies, but like actually.
But they're really good movies, aren't they?
I mean, yeah, of course they're really good movies, but I think like just this, like the story of like the robots taking over humanity. I mean, I don't know. It's like maybe it's like done and dusted like a million times, but it's just like there's so many like cool concepts in like those movies that like have kind of been cliched to death. But I don't know, like time traveling robots.
Okay. Sorry. I have a very, very obscure thing I want remade, but I don't think it's ever been done. So there was a show back in the day called Abbott and Costello. It's one of my favorite fucking things ever. And there was a movie called The Time of Our Lives. Have you seen this one? I think Johnny saw it. So essentially, long time ago, two people are mistaken for traitors to the nation. So they're shot down in cold blood because they think they're traitors, and they're cursed to never be able to leave the land. So 100 years later, the people, and they burn the estate down. 100 years later, they rebuild the estate, and then people come in. They're going to make it into a museum and shit. And they have to, like, good haunt their way into communicating with these people to try and help them find something that'll let them go into the afterlife and shit.
Oh, okay.
That's a dope-ass idea for a movie. There's plenty of Abbott and Costello movies that are out there, but
that is pretty cool.
If I say one thing that is not a fuck-up in this entire thing, that Abbott and Costello remake would be tight as shit.
There you go.
Thank goodness I said something.
There you go.
Bing,
We got it
bong.
up.
Bing, bang, boom.
So what's our conclusion here? Are remakes, can remakes be real movies, or are they always going to be a cash
They
grab?
definitely
Absolutely.
they can be
Yeah.
real movies.
Absolutely can be real movies. They are real movies.
But most of the time, I would say
Yeah.
it's a cash grab.
I think they can be good movies with the good, like the best intentions are involved. If you're going in there trying to get money, nothing's going to be
Very
good.
true.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be good unless you're in specific industries, in which case,
If you're
Good
on
for
Wall
you.
Street and you're just trying to make money, you're probably in the right place.
All right.
If
Good
you're
job,
making
people.
movies, then
Vote.
Maybe-
Yeah, I just said vote. I was gonna say. I don't know why I said. I was gonna say put your money on Disney.
So yeah, I think like we've been like jaded by the past few years because
Yeah.
like we've had a bunch of remakes, a bunch of sequels. I saw this today, Happy Gilmore 2.
yeah,
I'm
Trailer
not
being
excited
dropped.
for that, like at all.
yeah.
I
yeah.
can see it being.
I'm a little
huge pile of
disappointed
shit.
I'm a little disappointed in Adam, but
Sandler, not yourself.
anybody who's named Adam, we just call each other Adam. That's just the thing that is like we all hate each other and
Spiritual
we call each
connection.
other Adam. If you've ever seen two Adams in one room, watch the fuck out. But I'm just a little bit disappointed in him, man. Like Adam Sandler was really killing it with his movies, but the thing is,
He hasn't been
haven't
killing
seen
it for
it.
quite a while, man.
Well, a few of his movies. You said Uncut Gems was good. That fucking other movie was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant like Happy Madison movies.
No, I'm talking about like
his
lately.
actual like fucking.
Yeah, lately he was doing pretty good. But the thing is,
QB
I've never.
Halloween. I mean, that was a fucking
It was
fantastic.
before all of them, and that movie's just because I really like Halloween. But maybe it's good. You never know. Maybe it'll be decent.
I always have hopes, but we'll see.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Of course. I like Adam Sandler. Like I loved Adam Sandler when I was a kid. So, and I'd like when he's serious. I've mentioned this on the podcast before. When
I don't think Happy Gilmore 2 is going to be serious.
no, I actually heard it's a drama. That's what's it's. We were just talking about remakes and taking a new direction. That's what they're doing.
Oh yeah, that's why they got Travis
So, but that's
Kelce
not a
to be in
remake.
it.
That's not a remake. That's like a sequel too, right? That's another
That's
topic.
te-
That's a
different
topic for another day.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us, everyone.
absolutely, positively.
Peace out.
Have a good one.
Let's remake the Aristocats.